So the other day I uploaded a short about checking your rhizome trend, which is a very important aspect obviously, but there are certain things you really have to look for, especially with some of the bamboos, like the Huangwangshu, which I said is a bit of a bugger compared to, for example, my Pseudosassa japonica. I'll show you the difference in a minute. I kept on checking the rhizome trend a little bit more, and here is something you really have to be careful with, and I should have been a little bit more careful too. So going into the trench, here are two rhizomes coming out. So obviously when you see those two rhizomes coming out and bending down, you're just thinking just snip them off and that'll be that. And you know what? I thought that too. Let's have a look at the mistake I made when I just cut off the two and didn't really dig around. These are the rhizomes I cut out because I saw them obviously coming out, but I didn't check underneath it. And there is a big bugger going all the way down. It didn't even come out straight, it just went all the way down and it was hidden by soil. So now I'm gonna have to have a look where that bastard is going. And this is what I mean, you know, it's not enough if you just cut off the rhizomes. You really have to finger the soil around it just to make sure that there's nothing else growing growing down and is trying to hide. I only found that so far with this one, with the Huangwangshu. With the other one, with the Pseudosassa japonica, I haven't had that issue because the rhizomes are extremely shallow and they just come out straight. Yes, they do bend down as well, but they come out first, so you can really see them. Rather than this one, two coming out and one is growing underneath it. So let's have a look where this one is going. So the first thing I'm going to do is obviously, cut it off from the mother plant, and then I'm going to have to dig it out, because if you leave the rhizomes in the ground, they will become eventually individual plants. So I need to dig it out. So I was lucky, it was only this long, so it could have been a lot worse, but obviously the soft tip is still in there, but that doesn't make any difference. It's somewhat, when you see these things, you go, oh my God, this is going to be a big one, and then, this is somewhat of an anticlimax. Now I know how Jane feels. Let's do the rest of them. This one here, we actually had a cane growing out here, and So I took away that soil because that's the kind of guy I am, to show you more what I'm talking about. So here we had a rhizome coming up. Here you can see how many more rhizomes are clustering around it. And there's another one coming out. This one you really didn't see because the soil was there. And this is what I mean, you're really going to have to finger the soil to have a look where what is. Obviously all of these need to go. So, and whenever you cut them off, you really need to go back because the rhizome just extends and comes up somewhere else. These two need to also come off. But there is nothing underneath. So back here, I've got the Pseudosassa japonica, this one, and that has a rhizome trench around it as well. But here the rhizomes grow differently. So with this one here, also the rhizome trench, and here you can see where the rhizomes are coming out. So they're extremely shallow, much like me. Because the other ones, with the Huangwangshu, that seem to be like 30 centimeters, sometimes deep, or even more. But this one here is very shallow, and you can see them quite easily. And then you can just break them off like that. Be a savage. So comparing the two bamboos, obviously the Pseudosassa is far easier, at least in my eyes, than the Philiostachys Huangwangshu. Different bamboos obviously have different grow patterns. Here the rhizomes are much deeper comparatively to the Pseudosassa, and you just have to dig about. So what I was saying earlier on regarding removing the rhizomes, so what I've done a few weeks ago, I actually separated a rhizome from the mother plant to have a look if it would come back as its own individual plant. Because I've had many conversations with people when they're saying, oh, I just take the rhizome, cut it off the mother plant, and then it will die. It doesn't. It will become its own individual plant. Let me show you. So a few weeks ago, I took this part off here, of the mother plant, and just left it in the ground to see if it would actually become its own individual plant, and it has. It has sprouted some emergency canes, which obviously the photosynthesis will provide sugars, blah, 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 for the rhizome so that it will grow into its individual plant. So digging out the rhizome is a pain in the ass, and I know it is. This is why you have to check, you know, either your rhizome trench or where you have the bamboo. Even if you haven't got a rhizome trench, I have one here, but I don't have one at the back. So usually I go around it with a spade, and then you can feel the rhizomes. So you have to maintain them. So let's dig this one up and have a look at the individual plant. See, rhizome cut there, and here you can see the emergency canes, which obviously then will come to fruition with some leaves and stuff. And it would become its own individual bamboo. People, dig up your rhizomes if you don't want the bamboo. If you leave them in, this can happen. And then you have bamboo everywhere. So in conclusion, really check your rhizome trench. Also, when you have a rhizome barrier, you have to check that as well. Not that any of the rhizomes, you know, grow over it. So just keep on checking it and take the rhizomes out, unless you want to have individual little bamboos popping up all over the place. So yeah, that's pretty much it. I shall talk to you guys later. Bye.